So I think it's time to add a bit of motion and automation and prepare for the arrangement and all that fun stuff that's going to come up. So I'm going to show you a cool little thing that's new in Logic X called the SmartControls. And the SmartControls are basically a very easy way for you to MIDI map your controller without having to go into weird preference dialog boxes like you had to do previously. So right away, I know that this bounced chord here is something that I'm going to want to automate. I'm going to want to automate the cutoff, and I'm probably going to want to automate some sort of effects send on it, or a reverb level or something like that for tension and build-ups and whatnot. So what I might do is just throw a reverb in here, and probably a nice one, Space Designer. Maybe something... maybe a larger one. How about hot plate? How does that sound? Actually, that's quite nice. Adds a really big stereo presence, which is kind of cool. So what we'll do now is I'm going to press the hotkey, which is B by default. And this pops up down here. And now there's a whole bunch of different layouts that you can have. This obviously looks like some sort of guitar amp. We can have ones that look like old drum machines, synths, pianos, the whole deal. So let's just choose this generic one here. Now, what I'm going to do right away is map the cutoff. So all you have to do in order to do this is go up to there's two collapsible areas here, right? We have our parameter mapping and our external. Parameter is where the parameters in the plugin will go, and the external is where our MIDI controller will go. So it's as simple as going learn and turning this, and then clicking off learn. So now it's learned, yes, the EXS24 filter cutoff. And now the external assignment. Fingers crossed that all my MIDI controllers are plugged in properly. There we go. So I've learned it, and I'm turning a knob, and they're both turning. Super duper. So let's go to the next one. And for this one, I'm going to do the parameter mapping again and learn. And I'm going to go to the reverb output. And again, I'll turn another knob on my MIDI controller. Take both of those off. And magically, I can now increase the reverb send level. So that now enables me to do cool stuff like this. Okay, super cool. That's going to come in handy. Now, I noticed that the output on the reverb, well, the output on the whole track actually increased dramatically as I'm adding on reverb, because I'm basically adding more sound, okay? So what I also want to happen is I want the dry to go away. So, thanks to the magic of computers, we can go here, and I've clicked these little up and down arrow here. I can say add mapping. Now, I click this one. Now, the only... this is a bit iffy here, because you can click pretty much anywhere in here and you'll get your drop down. But if you want to actually select it, you have to click these three little dots here, and that will select it. So if I click learn now and move the dry, now I have both of these mapped. Okay? And by default, it's turning down the dry halfway, which is actually maybe what I want. So let's try this out. No, it's not. It's the opposite of what I want. Well, good thing that there is the invert button. So that does exactly what you'd think. So now instead of going up and down like this, if I click invert on the dry output, now it'll go down and then up. So let's give that a shot. right, so what I'm immediately noticing is that with the reverb on, it's so spread out stereo-wise. When you take it away, the synth sounds really wimpy, which is not what we want. So what I would like to do now is always have a bit of dry signal in there, I think. So instead of having the minimum and maximum going from mute down to 0, I think I would like to have it going to not mute, maybe only ever go down about, let's say, 8 dB. Now I'll give that a shot. I was turning the wrong knob. Okay, so now the reverb goes, gets pumped up all the way, and the dry is scaled, so it only ever goes down 8. We'll just play that through. And likewise, I always want a bit of reverb in there. So let's say, let's try this. There, so we don't lose that stereo image we're getting from the reverb if I crank it all the way to that way. I think that'll work out well. Okay, so now with the two knobs on my MIDI controller here, I can go through and I can do some automation recording and automate 3 parameters. Or if I wanted to, you could just go bananas and you can map as many as you want to a single control if you can work your head around what you're doing. Now, what I can do is I can also go into here and I can change this to be just cut off, and then I can change this to be the awesome. So you can turn up the awesome or lower the cutoff, either way. You can name them whatever you want. And that's the basics of SmartControls and how you can get up and going with them really quickly and integrate them into your workflow.